and welcome to RCKicks. On today's show, well, we carry on with the Porsche 911 TT02 build. Unfortunately, Rebecca couldn't be here today, so I'm not going to push on too far, but I want to cover some of the mods that I've done off camera and also what I'm actually going to do today. So the plan is I've received the oil shocks. Now, the Porsche 911 RSR doesn't come with oil, it comes with friction. So I picked up two of these, but I thought it'd be fun today for us to build one set, put them on the car and actually compare them against the standard friction shocks. So I think we'll do that today and we'll see, is the upgrade worth it? Now the upgrade is OP1753 and it's 54753. I'm expecting it to be a step up, but don't expect miracles, I think. The actual friction shocks aren't too bad, but if you look, what you suffer from, bouncy. It's very bouncy because there's no oil dampening. So every time you go over a bump, it unsettles the car. So I think we'll see that disappear versus the standard friction shocks. A few of the mods that I've done off camera, I finally realised, made a stupid mistake on both cars, that you can reverse the rear hubs. So if you're making one of these cars, the hubs, you turn them the other way around and it makes them more of a deep dish look at the back and pushes the stance out. So if you look on the rear, it's actually a deep dish wheel, whereas the front is more in line. So that's what happens there. On the kit, you get to set up a wide stance anyway, and there's two parts that need to be changed to do a wide stance. One is the cup and the pin that goes all the way through. It's longer so that it can pass further, and the actual main hub itself is longer. So with the pin and the longer piece of plastic, it sets the wheel off so that when you lock it down, you get even more stance. So the idea is with the deep dish wheels and the offset, it really pushes the back wheels out, so you have quite a large stance on the back. Now, when I put the body on, it then lines up really nicely, so I'm happy with the rear. But what I found was the fronts, the wheels were just a little bit into the arches, whereas the back are nice and flush. I don't know if you can see on this one, but there's a good few mil, and I didn't want that. I want them to be completely flush. So yet again, I bought more parts trees for a TT02, and I took the additional wide parts off the back that come on the tree, and I've just fitted them to the front. So now the stance at the front is wider. It's still not quite the same as the back because I haven't deep dished the wheels, but it doesn't need that. But this just gives it that little bit extra and fills the arches. So once I cut out the body, it will be nice and flush. I only bought one set of those because it actually adds up to be quite expensive, because the C-Cub is on one tree and you need two trees because there's one on each tree, and then the actual hub itself is on another tree and you need two of those as well. So you end up buying 4 trees to do this modification. So of course it's quite an expensive modification for what is, you only need 2 parts. But that's the only way to get them. Unfortunately, you can't buy them individually, so you just have to suck it up. But I really wanted the stance to be right. On Porsches, the stance has to be perfect, and then it really looks great. So that's what I did. But once I cut out the body, I'll know if that mod works, and then we'll do it to Rebecca's as well. But I didn't want to go spending all that money to realise that it rubs or it doesn't work or anything like that. But it looks like it should be bang on. So let's open up, build these shocks, and get them on the car, and then we'll see if it's any different. Right, let's get them open and let's build them up. Shouldn't be too long, and also they're pretty standard, so I don't expect any strange. Once you build some shocks, you're pretty much there. I think some of the mounts might have to change, but I don't know, we'll see. So we have, what have we got? End links, nothing super special. Little damper oils and some springs, and then the caps and the bodies. Another thing I've done to the car is I've actually fitted new bumpers, new foam bumpers. The bumpers that I purchased are the larger ones, and they fit nice and snug around the front of the Porsche and around the back. So once you put the body on, there's not much play in the fronts, so that if I bump something, the polycarbonate is protected. It doesn't flex too much. because that's part of the problem. As the bumper sits too far in, then the polycarbonate takes all the impact of the energy. It doesn't transfer the energy to the bumper. So I've swapped out to bigger bumpers, and they actually are very snug. I was going to trim them down if they were too big, but I just bought the largest ones I can. I'll put a image or specification up there of what the size was. I can't remember off the top of my head. And I put one at the back as well as the front. Now you screw down, you have a plate at the front that screws down and holds the foam in place. Now obviously you don't get two, but I've got some coming. But I've found that if I bought the parts tree, it was the same price as buying an individual carbon mount. So I bought a couple of carbon mounts, so I'll fit the carbon mounts on this one and then take this off and then put it on Rebecca's one so that she's got the same. So I did a quick test run just to make sure that the wheels didn't rub on the arches after I did the modifications. The car runs fine. The gyro that I installed seems to be a little bit twitchy, so I need to investigate that a bit more, as it's kind of overcompensating for itself, so you get like a wobble. So I'm not sure if that's I need a faster servo or I need to position it in a different place. Speed wise, it wasn't that great. It was only clocking in at 18 miles per hour. It was a bit wet today, so getting the traction down was difficult, but I might have to go a little bit faster. We'll see. Okay, so I've done the mods and I've changed the suspension. This one is now running oil and this is now friction. I've just had a quick play off camera to see what I thought and things like that. I'm actually pleasantly surprised how much better it is. I didn't think there'd be that much in it, being that this suspension is very small and obviously it's a road car, so you have tiny amounts of oil, but it does make a big difference to the chassis. So if I drop this and then if I drop this one, so now the suspension's done, the next thing is to focus on cutting out the body. Right, so the first thing we're going to do is a rough cut of the body as it is. So I've got my trusty scissors. Not that I stole these from the kitchen or anything. Before anybody says, don't tell the wife. Right, that's the body fully cut out. Next, I've got to put the window masks in and then I'll paint it up. But I think that's as far as I'm going to take it today because I don't want to get too far ahead of Rebecca in her car. Nothing I learned from the body wise, it was all pretty standard stuff. Usual cut again, cut nice to the line, sand down all the corners and you're done. The body doesn't sit exactly true. It seems to be about 1.5 mil to one side. So I might see if I can adjust the pegs a little bit. Mainly on the front, back sitting nice, but it seems to be sitting slightly off, so I'll adjust that off camera. Apart from that, it's waiting for a few extra bits to come. I've got, I don't know if you can see, but I've got blue anodized wheel nuts on this side, and I've got some red ones coming for the other side. You know, a bit of a homage to the racing sets that you get on the actual Porsches. What else have I got coming? I can't remember now. The carbon mounts for the bumpers, that's coming. And I think that's pretty much it. I might add some light kits to these. A bit like the Porsche 934 has a light kit. When we paint them, we'll paint them and keep the headlights and the rear lights clear. We will invest a bit of effort because we'll probably put some lights in these because they look great. So I might pick up some of those. That's pretty much it. Anyway, thanks very much. Please like and subscribe, and go over to Facebook, check us out. Thanks very much. See you soon. Bye bye.